It's Thursday morning and a hearty good morning to everybody tuned in this morning. Guys and girls, how are you this morning?
Goeiemôre.
And we're to our Capitanian friends. So, yep, all right. This morning we'll chat about a few things that we normally get questions of or that we normally find people ask about on Facebook. We're not going to touch any subjects on the immigration side because that's not our field of expertise, but there's a lot of other stuff that we do know a little bit about. So what was the first question?
I think the first one that we can maybe touch is to bring a container or not to bring a container.
Yeah, that's an important thing. In I would say the past few months, containers has become very, very expensive, but I've got the feeling that the prices are slowing down now.
Yes, I think
shipping is opening up
a
again
little
now.
bit, yes.
So you got to make up your mind, and the decision would lie about how much money can you spend on furniture in New Zealand, because you will have to come and buy furniture down here, except if you are going to try and see if you can get everything from the op shops and so forth.
Yeah, we always say if you've got stuff that are brand new in South Africa or the sentimental stuff,
bring that.
Bring that. You can set up a house from the op shops first if you want to do that. To buy new furniture in New Zealand is quite expensive,
especially if you buy quality stuff. I mean, it's not cheap at all. So,
but if you are okay with buying from the op shops, you get really nice stuff from the op shops first, and then when you've saved some money, then buy new stuff. Then it is doable. Yeah. So I think that's for us. It made sense to bring a container. Some people prefer just to come with the clothes.
Well, it's basically 6 years down the line. We haven't bought a lounge suite. But I see my lounge suite is now getting old, so that still comes from South Africa. We have bought new beds, which is rather expensive exercise. But a lot of our South African stuff we are still using. And if you walk into my house, you can see the massive lounge suite standing there. That's a South African trademark, and see how big your lounge suite can be. So, yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's personal preference. It's up to everyone. As we say, a few months ago, we said it's actually now cheaper to not bring a container because the containers were so expensive. But it has
changed
down.
Again.
It has gone down. So, yes. Then you get a lot of questions regarding your wills. Is a South African will? Can you bring? Is it?
South African will is valid in South Africa, but that's where it ends. You will die interstate here if you don't have a New Zealand will. It's very easy like that. I know there's a group in South Africa offering worldwide wills. I've looked at that concept and I just saw hours and hours of work going wasted, because it's going to be very real or very difficult to tie up everything all over the world in one will. So you need a New Zealand will once you've arrived here. And I spoke to people last night. Lawyers charged them $2,800 for 2 wills.
Oh my
goodness me! We've been doing this for free for all our clients.
So you need, for your stuff in South Africa, you need a will in South Africa.
And if you ever lived in Britain and have got assets down there, you need a will there as well, wherever you've lived.
Okay.
Yeah. The biggest problem is the two law systems is totally different from each other. So
yeah. And then just one thing that I can say, not only regarding your wills, but guardianship for your kids, because this is a huge thing. When you, in the case that both of you die at the same time and you have kids that's underage, you need guardians to look after them. A lot of people have got guardians overseas, but remember that you need temporary guardians in New Zealand to look after your kids until the guardians can come and get them. So it is important to, ask a friend or family member that's in New Zealand if they will just be the temporary guardians for your children. That is a huge thing that you just have to keep in mind.
And if we have done your will for you, then you can at any time just change whatever. If that guardians move on to Australia or wherever else we found new guardians, it's easy to change the stuff.
So that is just one thing that you have to keep in mind. Then with regards to insurance.
Insurance, if you got, let's break up the insurance in two parts quickly. You got retirement annuities, that's your saving portions in South Africa, and you got normal life covers and those type of things. Once you've made the final decision to come over, stop the retirement annuity. Go and ask for a paid up quote. That's quite important. Ask for a paid up quote. They'll send you a paid up quote. There is going to be a percentage you're going to pay because the broker is still getting some commission out of that. Okay, so that's going to happen. If you do it now, if you do it in 5 years' time, the same thing is going to happen. Get a paid up quote. Don't pay anything further towards that retirement annuity. Then keep your life covers until you've reached New Zealand, because anything can go wrong. Because if you cancelled your life cover in South Africa and you arrive here for that period of time, you won't have any cover, and stuff can happen.
Yeah,
stuff. I've seen bad things happen. Yes. That's why I say don't cancel it. The other reason why you don't cancel until you are here, most of the companies will give you some leeway on stuff like dreaded disease. If you had that in South Africa and you take out the new one down here, they won't impose a waiting period on you.
Okay.
Which is quite nice. Yeah. So, but that's only the reputable companies.
What would you say with regards to what insurance cost in South Africa versus New Zealand?
If you take an average company very much like Liberty or Sanlam, and that's his names, or Old Mutual, this is our names that people will know in South Africa, we are at least 25% cheaper for people below 45.
Okay.
At least 25% cheaper here. If you are with companies that's for your medical professionals, those type of people that's in New Zealand or in South Africa, then we are at least 55 to 60% cheaper in New Zealand. They've just overinflated their rates totally. And it is because we don't have any crime down here as part of our statistics of claims.
Yeah. So, then another question that we see a lot on Facebook is people that are worried about the amount of money that they will get paid, and will they be able to have a sustainable living in New Zealand with that amount that they will get.
Guys, you've got to remember, every person in the world is different. I use a different amount of money per month than probably what she would use if she was on her own per month, than what my neighbor would use, and so on. So everybody's got their own different needs. And it's quite difficult for us or anybody else to say yay or nay. There's some areas where you can straight out say no. Under that amount of money, you won't be able to live. And I'm thinking about $30 an hour, and if it's a single person working, I think that is about with a family. Yes. I think if you're in Auckland, don't even come. You're not going to do it there. Yeah. Anywhere else, you will have to take a very low budget, bad house. Let me be quite frank, if you can get any of those, just to be able to survive. Whoever the partner is coming with will have to work. Don't even muck around the bush with that. And sometimes they don't have the time to just adapt or get the kids to adapt to the new country. They will have to start looking for work immediately just to be able to survive in that.
I think it probably has got a lot to do with where in New Zealand you end up living, and also how big your family is, and just your way of living. Yeah. Do you live expensively or?
Yeah. I've seen Venita has dropped a cost of living comparison. I'm glad, Venita, you are here.
Wonderful.
Venita, if you could just give me 1 second of your attention, please. The new immigration law that states that the person coming over, that the spouse or the partner are not allowed to work, has that come into force yet? I'm unsure about that. There's a lot of rumors. I don't know if that has come into force yet. So if you can just give me some indication on that. Because that could be a big game changer. I'm not quite sure if that has come into force, because then people will have to rethink their whole strategy of coming to New Zealand.
Yeah.
31 May. So that was last night.
Oh yeah. So, that you must have a
so guys, I'm going to talk to Venita more about this, but it has happened now that the partner coming over of whoever is the visa holder cannot work unless they get their own visa. This is not immigration advice. This is the truth out there. Rethink your financial strategy regarding this, because that person that comes with you will have to get their own visa to work, and that can take quite a while. And that means the earning potential of them is zero until they get their visa. I can see a lot of problems. I don't think they have thought this through, because you sit with workers onshore that can't work. politicians.
Okay. You can have a chat with Anita
let's
about
not
that
say how
later.
stupid Labour is, but anyway.
Someone asked there, can you keep your insurance in South Africa, or do you have to cancel it? That's one of the questions there.
One of the questions popped past. You can keep your insurance in South Africa. Remember, you always will have to be able to keep your bank account there because you can't pay it from your New Zealand bank account. You're always going to pop against the forex rate at that stage. So if you die, and the forex rate has gone up to 15, we've seen it hop around now like crazy. Let's take 2 months ago, when South Africa gave some ammo and arms to the Russians, the rand dropped by 20%. It dropped by 20%. If you die at that stage, whatever financial planning you had here will be 20% less. So
yeah, and because it's cheaper to have your insurance in New Zealand, I don't know why you would actually want to keep it in South Africa unless you are thinking of going back to South Africa, maybe.
The one drawback about South African insurance is they can instruct you. Let's say you get something like cancer or so. Every insurance company has got a panel of doctors. I'm not talking about 1 or 2 doctors. They've got a panel of doctors. They can instruct you to come to that panel of doctors to see if the diagnosis was correct, because these doctors are highly trained doctors and they are insurance trained doctors. So if there's any thoughts about the legitimacy of your claim, they can instruct you to come back or to come and appear in front of the panel of doctors. So just keep that in mind. That's probably not something you want to do, because then you would need to go back to
There's a very interesting question. What would the primary reason be for life insurance in New Zealand?
Because you are going to die.
I can actually answer that from a woman's perspective.
Okay, now you got old thumbs, boys.
If like in our instance, if I'm alone, I wouldn't be able to make a living. So if he should fall away, what would happen to me? I would have to sell the house and have no house. So
I think you would go back to renting, and that's basically the same scenario.
I won't be able to afford it. So I think the primary reason for having life insurance is just to make sure that the one that stays behind has at least will be able to have a house. Because if you have a house, then you can survive on whatever else you get from other money. But if you don't have a house and you still have to pay rent, it will make it really difficult.
I say to new South Africans that have arrived, I say, you need to get enough money out of your life cover so that you can buy a house, because at that stage they haven't got houses yet. If you just take that burden off the other person, then you can probably survive from one salary of let's say $60,000. You can then survive with that. Yeah. You don't need to pay rent, or you don't need to pay the mortgage back at all.
Or if you're older, say you are retired, you will be able to survive on the money that you get from the government.
Oh yeah.
But if you don't have a house, you won't be.
Let's say we at age 65, because I've made all my plans that at age 65 the properties are paid off and everything's paid off. If we are at that age, I can stop my life cover, but I won't. So I'll tell my kids, you guys want money, pay my life cover. That's an inheritance at the end of the day.
Yes, yeah. So yes, it makes sense to have life insurance.
Vanita's basically saying the same.
What you just said, yes. Yeah. He's agreeing with you, Vanita.
What Jan Viljoen is asking, what is the investment percentage rate for long-term investment? Dion, as much as possible. In New Zealand, we've got a thing called Kiwisaver. Of that, you have to give 3% of your salary, and the boss will give 3% of your salary, and that combined 6% goes into a investment portfolio that you make a decision on where it will be going to, and that will sort you out for your old age. But probably at your specific age, 6% won't be enough. So I think it's probably a good thing if
8%.
Yeah, give me a call. Let's talk through that and see where we can get to that.
Okay, we're really running through the questions, but
what is the time? I always look at time.
Sending money from New Zealand to South Africa.
That's been a thing that's been popping up reasonably a lot these last few days. What we do is we just pay directly from our New Zealand bank account straight into the South African bank account, and that's probably the fastest way to do it.
Yeah, I must say the rate that you pay for that, I'm with Westpac, is really not that high. It doesn't break the bank to just do
The
it
problem
that way.
becomes when you do the reverse, when you bring money from South Africa to New Zealand.
I haven't.
That forex rate is absolutely horrific if you go through the bank.
Yeah.
So we've got a company that helps us with that gives us a very, very good rate of forex. So if you want to know about that, let us know. So I see people saying transfer Wise is great, Ultimate. I've seen all of these names pop up and people are complaining like crazy about them. So that's just my thoughts. I don't think you should be that difficult to put your money from one bank into the next bank. So
yes,
the only drawback with New Zealand banks is you can't really, or the bank that I'm with, I can't do my South African account as a beneficiary.
No,
I have to redo
you have
it
to
every
put in
time.
the beneficiary every time. It is kind of.
I hope somebody from the bank is listening this morning, guys. You're driving me nuts.
Yeah.
So
someone's asking which bank is the best.
Okay, my honest opinion on this is I'm going to name a few banks, and I'm not going to name the ones I'm saying don't go to. The ones I would go to: ASB, Westpac, BNZ, ANZ. That's probably the four biggest. They're basically very much the same.
Yeah.
They all got shitty service. Let's be quite frank about that. If you need to speak to anybody there, you got to make an appointment and come back in 2 weeks' time. So yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't work like in South Africa where you go into the bank and you wait in a queue and someone else.
The thing is, to be quite frank, I come out of the bank industry. I've worked for Standard Bank for many years, and those guys had set goals. They had to do a certain amount of new accounts per month. They were hungry for business. Yeah, I'll come back one day. We'll see if we can get to the point. You can walk into the bank and nobody's working. I promise you, nobody's working.
But they won't help you.
They won't help you.
No. So remember, when you come, you have to make an appointment to see a banker.
The better one, can I, sorry to chip in here, the better one is to open up an account from offshore. Then only you've got to walk into the bank and verify yourself. And they normally allow you to do that very faster than opening an account on your own. You can wait up to 2 to 3 weeks just to open an account. I did it now with my son, and even my own bank, Westpac, where they basically know me because I've got so many complaints with them. They just said, "No, come back in 3 weeks. It's fine."
It's ridiculous, actually.
Yeah.
One thing that a lot of people ask: can I drive with my South African driver's license in New Zealand? You can.
You just
for up to 2 years, I think.
2 years or 1 year, but don't go that long. I mean, just get the thing swung over.
The thing is, with your driver's license in New Zealand, your driver's license actually becomes your identity document. So, I would say just get your driver's license as soon as you can, because that is where in South Africa you need your ID document. The driver's license is your identity document in New Zealand.
You go to the bank, they want your driver's license.
That is what
wherever you go, and you need to prove who you are.
So just do it, and it's quick. It's like 10 minutes. It's very quick. So just do that. What is the question about the Kaida gas bottle?
Oh yes. Somebody asked, and this is a very good South African question, and I know where you guys are coming from. They asked, can you bring your Kaida gas bottle, and where can you get it refilled? Point one, I doubt if they allow the Kaida gas bottles on the containers anymore, because in our time when we brought the container, that was stopped in total. So yeah, don't bring your Kaida gas bottle. The fittings in New Zealand versus South Africa, they're two different things. You get somebody that does a conversion, but it's only for the Kaida, the Scottle thing. Yeah. That conversion, they changed the end of that to fit a New Zealand gas bottle. But you can buy a New Zealand gas bottle basically any garage or service station or Micro 10 or anywhere. It's really quickly to do that. So,
you wanted to say something about the medicals?
Oh yeah, medicals in South Africa. Well, there's a lot of questions about if you have this this problem, if you've got that problem, will that affect your immigration status? I'm not going to touch that subject of immigration, but what I'm saying to you now is, if you have any medical problem in South Africa, bring all, and I mean all, tests or doctor's reports. Please do it in English.
I was just going to say, please ask them to do it in English
and bring that over. I luckily have gotten a direct connection. I actually had to use it the other day at the insurance company that can speak Afrikaans.
But still, if you have to
But it was with
submit
the
your
way around.
documents to an
anything
insurance
else.
company or whatever, they will just throw it out because it's an
Except the insurance companies only. Let's talk about, now you come to your doctor, the first appointment. I tell the doctor, I had this thing in South Africa. Point one, the doctor will probably believe you, but he won't know what exact procedure was done, what was that doctor's final results, and so forth. Now you can say, yep, here's my report, doctor's report. They can go and read it and study it and Google it as much as they want to and get to a point where they make a decision for you.
Mariska is saying if you have a code 10 or code 14 driver's license, you need to make an appointment at a doctor for a driver's medical. Okay, I didn't know that. You also need to do a small test at the AA.
Okay. And that is basically because those people drive massive trucks.
Yes,
so
yes, makes sense.
It's probably a good thing.
Long hours and yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Then, of course, a big question is there was a post on Facebook the other day about a lady that's just been to South Africa to visit. She's been living in New Zealand for like 14 years or something.
And she was shocked.
No, she went to South Africa to visit, and when she came back, she had all those feelings of guilt again, and she was actually thinking, didn't she make a mistake? And she was just longing to go back to South Africa. And then a lot of people commented on that post saying that they feel the same and they're scared to go back to South Africa to visit because they are scared that they would want to stay there and not come back to New Zealand. So the thing that I said, and I have experienced that now the last time that I went back to South Africa, when I came back, it was really hard for me to, I was really longing for the kids then. It was really hard for me to just get into things again.
I fully understand it. I mean, I was just thinking when I got on the plane to leave South Africa, I said, I'm so glad I can leave this.
The thing is
country,
that I just say is, and that I had to say that for myself also again, it is not about the country, it's about the people in the country.
The sad thing is you got to leave people behind on your journey as you go on.
What I just say is go to South Africa and enjoy every day. Enjoy Table Mountain and the waterfront and enjoy
getting robbed in Joburg. So.
Just enjoy everything that you love about South Africa. And then when you get on that plane to come back, you are really privileged to be able to come back. It is easy to just visit and enjoy it, but think about staying there and living there again. It doesn't actually make sense. So I say enjoy every minute in South Africa. Get on the plane and just feel privileged that you are able to come back home to New Zealand. Yeah.
And it is a privilege to get back to home.
It is a privilege, and we are very honored to be able to live here. And some people forget that.
All right. Good question. At what point can you start contributing the 3% to Kiwisaver? It's obtaining your residence. You don't need to have PR or citizenship. It's obtaining your residence. From that moment onwards, you can get your 3%. You can get Kiwisaver, and you can also get the government contribution from that moment. The government gives you about $521 per year because you have paid in a certain amount of money. It's pro rata on your first year. But get that money. It's money for Jan, to be quite frank. So,
okay. Morning, Jan.
Jan just waking up this morning. So, just one thing, just to step back to the code 14 and 10. That license needs to be older than 2 years before you can convert it. So you needed to have the license in South Africa for 2 years at least.
Oh, okay. So you can't just get your code 10 and then come.
It's interesting. But once you get your normal driver's license, you can just convert that easily. And the thing is, in New Zealand, you can drive a motorbike on your car license up to a certain amount of cc's.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Then a lot of people are worried about the language barrier for their children. I can speak from experience with other people's small children. They learn the language so quick. You'll still be struggling to adapt and whatever, and the kids will be speaking
Now they're speaking Kiwi and you were still struggling on your English.
Yeah.
So,
don't worry about that. And I know that the schools has got this integration program where they integrate.
Well, the nice thing is if they really struggle, the schools are out there to help them.
Yeah. So don't worry about that. Your kids will be fine. It looks to me like it's more the teenagers that's the trend is more with teenagers to struggle. But that's a teenage thing. You can just imagine how
guys,
hard it must be
you've
for
been
them.
seeing at the bottom, we're scrolling a website, which website is moving to nz.co.nz. This is a website that we've set up there for people like you that struggles to get into New Zealand. Even if you're already in New Zealand, you need to find some information on that. That website is growing by the day. We're working on that daily. We've got it now to a national point where most of the stuff that you do ask has been covered on that. Even immigration stuff is on that. We are going to get a few advertisers on that as well. So we're going to get immigration people to advertise on that and so forth, so that to make it more worthwhile for you. And then the next phase that we are going to do is we're going to break this down in areas, so that you know what exactly is going on, let's say, for instance, in Hamilton and so forth. So this has been a heck of a lot of work. You can go and look at the website. What you see, there's been nearly full-time work of about 4 months at least or longer. So,
and then we are also going to start and have conversations about stuff that's really important and things that help that you can get in New Zealand that you don't know about if you're a parent or whatever. So we're gonna start having conversations with people in New Zealand that knows about the help that is available in certain areas. And yes, we will share the videos and stuff.
And hopefully we can get Vanita on here soon.
Yes, to just talk
I'm
about
open next week, Vanita. So if you got time, let's have a chat again about what's happened in the immigration world and how people can get around that. I had a very good discussion last night with somebody, but I'll first run this through Vanita before I even say anything about this. It was just very weird. Vanita says good for next week. All right, thanks, Vanita. So just taking you up on your offers down there. Is there any other questions that popped up?
No, I think we've run through quite a lot.
You get the normal questions with people about kids and dogs and stuff.
And rentals and stuff.
It's still difficult to get a rental for animals.
With animals, not for animals.
No, for your animals. I mean, you need to make or clear up your head that you are going to at least get a rental where you can bring your animals to. Yeah. Let's put that in there. Any tips on securing a rental place? I hear it's quite difficult that you should complete the family CV so long. I don't know about the family CV. If you rented prior, bring proof of that and get a letter from those people saying you're not a bad tenant. So that's rather important.
Also, when we came from South Africa, we also brought a letter from our neighbors stating that we had a decent house, and we brought a letter as proof of that we owned the house.
I don't know
if we actually used it. Did we use it?
I think we used it in the very first one.
Oh, okay. So, but it is if you have it, you have it. So
because I mean, those people, they probably like your face, but they don't know you. I mean, now you just come from a different country. How good will you be with their houses? I mean, they've got a certain way that they need to have the house back at the end of the tenant period. So
but it is a difficult.
I want to put this one up there. Tell me about the NZQA. That's the New Zealand Qualifications Association or agency or whatever they want to call the NZQA for. What the NZQA does at the end of the day, that brings your diplomas and your degrees and everything. They see if you are on the same page as New Zealand ones, and then they will give you the same type of qualification down here. The problem with them is that point one, they overrun. If you look at their website says roughly about 4 months. I used them the other day, and at about month 5, I had to call them and say, guys, it's not working. And then at that stage, they said to me, it could be another year. And I said, I had a deadline by which my stuff was ready to, or had to hand it in. And another year would have left me for 1 year without a job. Yeah. So I mean, they could probably hear I was about to cry because I felt like crying out of desperation and just
Yes.
waking them up and saying, come on, it can't be that bad. And eventually they just came back. I can't say they did a lot of trouble with me. They basically the next day just called me back and said, oh, sorry, they can't assess my stuff. They gave me one another lame reason why. I just think they thought, well, I'm going to be a lot of work. So,
Okay.
yeah.
But you sorted it out?
No, I still couldn't. They gave me back my money at the end of the day. But it took them five months to come to the point where and me forcing them to say they can't deal with me.
Oh my goodness.
So,
okay.
and the problem was at that stage I had to rewrite the whole exam. So I just had
to. You were quite frustrated.
Yeah, I was bloody frustrated. So.
Okay, just before we end, I just want to say that we are very fortunate. Our daughter-in-law arrived on Sunday.
This weekend, yeah.
Yes. So she is still a little bit jet-lagged, but we are very fortunate to have her here. So, yes, we're very lucky.
And then this weekend we're going down to Napier. We have she's got a ladies thing there.
We've got a breakfast in the morning, and
we've got a braai for the guys in the afternoon.
Yeah, it's going to be nice. There are quite a few guys that's coming to the braai, so I think it will really be nice.
Yeah. So
yes, we're looking forward to that.
2 last quick questions. Have we got time? We'll do them in 1 second. How about people with chronic disease is eligible to come across? I think it's best to speak to immigration down there.
Yeah.
And the last one, would any insurance company accept you without the recognition? I do not understand the question. Sorry. Depending on what type of recognition you want to know about. All right, guys and girls, that's us for this morning. Let's have a goodbye and see you next week, next time. This weekend's a long weekend in New Zealand, so enjoy that. Get out. The weather doesn't look that bad for half of the weekend. The rest of the weekend, it looks absolutely crap.
The King's birthday.
Yeah.
King's birthday on Monday.
All right.
Yes.
All right. See you all.
Okay. Bye.